Okay guys, if you want the extended version of this, you can listen to the podcast that I'm going to put out associated with this video. But basically, I wanted to do a quick video of some reasons why you should think twice about considering getting into the adult industry. I'm just going to try to do this video as unbiased as possible because at the end of the day, my life is not your life. Everyone has their own path, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. You are free to do whatever you want with yourself, especially if it's going to make you happy and live a good life. But I just thought that I would share some of my own insight into your brain, hopefully to broaden your perspective and to maybe not make a decision that you don't want to, or to make a decision and just be ready for some of the things that might come with it. So, to begin, first thing that I want to tell you about, specifically porn. When you shoot a video, remember that that content is no longer yours. When you sign a release form and you sign the documents for that company, you're giving them the ability to use that video however they please. If they want to put it on their own content websites, they will. If they want to put it on tube sites, they will. If they want to put it on social media, they will. You don't own the rights to those videos anymore. If you suddenly change your mind down the road and don't want that footage out there, it's extremely difficult to get it taken down. Most of the time, impossible, unless you hire a really good lawyer. Half the time, people don't want to deal with that headache. So that's something to think about. Remember that you're also a freelancer and an independent contractor. So majority of the times with these production companies, you're going to be signing a W-9 form and you're going to get taxed at the end of the year. You're a freelancer. And so you have to also remember that you have to invest a bit into your own career. That includes my next point, testing. When you have sexual relations with anyone, you're putting your body at risk. Remember that. In porn, 99% of the companies are not going to be using condoms. So you're having unprotected sex with people. These people, for legitimate production companies, will have a 14-day valid test through the PASS system, which means that performers are required to have a 14-day bill of proof that they have been tested and are free of STDs. But remember, in those 14 days, that's a big window. They could be having sex with other people that aren't tested. They can contract a disease and you don't know about it. They still have that 14-day test. They're good. So you are always taking a risk with that. The tests also don't test for herpes simplex 1 and 2. Some companies may ask you to do that, but it's not required because majority of people in the industry have herpes 1 and 2. A lot of people already in society have herpes, but it's just something to be aware about. If you don't have the virus, you're definitely most likely going to get it after shooting, at least for a little bit. You're putting yourself at risk in that way. You're more likely to get outbreaks, and that's just something to consider if that's important to you. It should be important to everyone, but it's just something that a lot of people look over. HPV is something also that is very similar to herpes. Majority of people all have it in the industry, and a lot of people outside the industry have it as well. It's just something to kind of note to yourself. The test for syphilis, gonorrhea, treponema, HIV, hepatitis, a few other things. So just remember, your health is always at risk if you're going to be shooting porn. Another point is that every time you get tested, it's $155 and you're paying that out of pocket. You can't use your own health insurance for testing. You have to go through a specific database called the PASS system, which is required with the production companies. It's basically a database where production companies and producers can pull your test and see like, oh, Felicity Feline has a clean test. She's available to shoot. But I can't use my own health insurance to pay for that. So I'm paying out of pocket every time I go. And if I want to be current and I have to get tested every 14 days, that's twice a month. $155 every time I go, $300, that's a lot. $300. Yeah, I'm adding my math right? That's like a car payment. So, you know, just consider that, just putting that out there. Okay. Another point is that the aftermath. Remember, once you have those videos out there, you're going to have to deal with the repercussions and aftermath of people finding out. if you are naive and think like, oh, you know, there's millions and billions of videos out there, like no one's gonna find mine, trust me, they will, and it happens. It spreads like wildfire. And this is coming from someone that is from a small town on Long Island, and everyone found out. And it was very difficult. It takes a lot of self-esteem and confidence to be assured in your own skin that you made the right decision when you get bullied and harassed by people. You might not have a negative experience like I did initially, but a lot of girls and guys do. A lot of people don't respond well to that. So you have to be prepared for bullies, trolls, people talking trash about you on the internet, public forums, your legal name getting linked with your stage name. All these are real things that happen. Don't be fooled and think that everything's going to be swept under the rug and no one's going to find out, because they will. So you have to stand by your decision and know that you're doing it for your own reasons. Don't do it for anyone else. Don't do it to prove someone that you're sexy enough, okay? You are worthy enough, but if you want to get into the adult industry, do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else, and have confidence in your decisions and stand by them. Okay. What's another point? Along with the people finding out, you know, you also have to deal with the people that might not want to surround themselves with you anymore. Some people don't want to be associated with people in the industry. It happens. I've lost jobs because of it. I've had companies tell me that they don't want to work with me because they see that I've done porn, because I also work in the music and nutrition industry. So a lot of people, you know, they think it's very taboo that I've worked in adult and that I can be found naked on the internet. Some companies don't want to be associated with that. Even though it's becoming mainstream, it is something to consider. You might not get every job that you want in the future after shooting film in the adult industry. It's just a reality, you know? I don't even get angry about it. It's just something I've come to accept. So be prepared about that. Also be prepared that you might attract some really fucking creepy people. I've had stalkers, I've had crazy fans, I've had some weird shit go down because people become obsessive or just look at me like a fantasy object rather than a real person. But newsflash, I am real, living, breathing flesh, okay? So be prepared. You might get some weird ass people that want your life or want you to be in their life. They want that experience with you, okay? So another thing, protect yourself, get a P.O. box. Don't use your real address for things. Just cover the bases and don't even have a situation that you don't want to deal with. This is coming from someone that has had some negative experiences, and trust me, you don't want them. Okay, another point. After shooting film, sometimes it changes people's perspectives of you. You know, you might not be taken as seriously. You might be looking at as, you know, a whore or a slut or vice versa. It might affect your personal relationships as well. For many years after shooting, I had a lot of difficulty having normal relationships outside of porn. And this is different for everyone, you know. I'm not saying that you're not gonna have the ability to find someone that will fall in love with you, but sometimes it can pose problems within trust and expectations, and people assume things about you that might not be true. Because for a lot of people, like myself, it was merely a job and it was a means of income to have in a flexible and fast way, because I don't want to have a 9-to-5 lifestyle, and it works with everything else I'm doing, like pursuing music and freelance nutrition. So it kind of supported me in that way, but I always had my separation. It was just a job. Some people, you know, really love it and love being a part of that industry and community. Like I said, everyone's different. It depends on what you want out of it. But be prepared that it might make relationships that you have in your life more complicated. So if you think you can handle that or it's not an issue, don't worry about it, but it might. So just keep that in mind. What else? On a personal level, once you see yourself naked on camera and in that vulnerable way, exposed for everyone to see, it can make you more insecure about yourself. It might make you look at yourself, your body, and say, wow, I wish this was different, or I look so ugly, or oh, wow, everyone sees me now in this way. Look at my razor burn. Oh my God, my vagina looks weird. I mean, there's so many things that I've seen on film about myself where I'm just like, wow, I can't believe everyone can see that. But, you know, it's a part of just accepting what you do. You have to stand by what you do. You got to be confident and brave. So be prepared to maybe overcome some own personal insecurities. For me, I got my boobs done last year. And, you know, I started the industry with my natural boobs. And to be honest, I kind of always did want to get them done just because it was something that I was always slightly self-conscious about. But it wasn't enough to the point where I didn't like my body. I mean, I was still comfortable with who I was, and I mean, I'm posing naked, so obviously I'm comfortable with myself. But, you know, that was something that over the years in shooting, I would get a lot of people commenting on my boobs, calling them saggy, calling them droopy, you know, oh, her tits are gross, like she has no ass, whatever. You know, I received a lot of negative comments from people. And sometimes it's hard to not focus on that. It really is. It can drive you to the point where you aren't in love with yourself. But you have to be. You have to love you. And you got to remember that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and everyone has the right to fall in love with themselves and be comfortable in their own skin. So you can't let negativity of other people bother you. I mean, they're watching your videos. People are always going to be criticizing you no matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're naked. It doesn't matter if you're a librarian working in the library. It doesn't fucking matter. People will judge you. So you live your life and you do what you want. Just stay true to yourself. If you want to get work done, if you want your boobs done, if you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, if you want to get tattooed, do what you want. But don't do it to please other people. And this is coming from myself, where I've gotten work done, but it wasn't for anyone else. I did it for myself. But seeing a lot of negative comments about my boobs did add to the incentive of wanting to get it done. But my point is, just remember, the criticism and the negativity is always going to be there. But you got to look past that, and you got to stay confident, and you got to remember that this is your life and you want to fulfill it in whatever way that you want to. What else? I mean, body image, kind of what I just talked about. The sexual STDs, the relationships, the ownership, the content, you know, just remember too that like working as an independent contractor and a performer in this industry, you know, there is no union for us. There's no really sense of community. And I mean, within the industry there is, but it's often looked at as taboo, and it's not completely accepted by mainstream society in every way. So, you know, you might feel slightly isolated if you start it, you know, and you might feel like you're being objectified and not accepted as a human being, but rather more than just an object or a fantasy. And just go in, if you do decide to do it, and stay true to whoever you are, okay? And don't let the opinions and the mindset of other people deter you from living the life that you want to. I kind of sound repetitive, but also, another point to make, sorry, I'm kind of rambling, I'm just free-living this a little bit and improvising, so kind of just having some verbal diarrhea here, so bear with me. But getting into the adult industry, one thing that you should really, really focus on is looking at it as a longevity type of business. So if you go into it and you're going to go all in, brand yourself, market yourself, go all in and make it a fucking job. Okay, you got to be active with social media. You have to really put yourself out there if you want to be busy and getting work. It's hard to make a living solely just from shooting scenes. A lot of people, you know, they get into webcamming. They feature dance and strip at clubs. They make their own custom videos. They sell their own content on OnlyFans or ManyVids or private Snapchats. They monetize in almost every way they can. I mean, I make more money on my own things rather than just shooting because A, I've kind of taken a hiatus to even shoot, but also it's just that you can't ever rely on that because it will dry up and it will get slow. You will get less work over time. And the more older you get, that's just the reality we face. There's always new faces coming in. There's just always people ready to take your place. It's so competitive. So remember that going in. You have to make yourself a brand. You have to be wanted and present yourself in a very business mature way. If you go on set, you look at it as a job. You show up, you be a professional, you do the best scene that you can do, and you leave dignified and full of grace. And you be remembered in a positive way, because then those producers will remember you and be like, yeah, I enjoyed shooting Felicity. She was a pleasure to work with, very easy, very professional. I would like to work with her again. That's how you get more work. Be positive, have a good attitude, take care of yourself, be responsible, and also be honest. If there's something wrong with your body, don't ever put someone else's health at risk, okay? Because that is morally wrong in every so which way. You wouldn't want someone knowingly coming to set with something wrong with them and giving it to you. So have other respect for people as well. What else? So the monetizing, be careful also when it comes to monetizing, the temptation to do things that you don't want to do. A lot of people that get into the adult industry end up escorting and doing privates. Let's be real, okay? It's a lot of money in that. And often, I'm going to say girls because it's more majority female performers that do this. They get tempted, and it's very hard to say no to that type of money, and it's more available when you make a name for yourself. You're always going to get people wanting to book you for private things once you're established in porn, okay? But if that's something that you don't want to do, don't go down that road. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If that's what you want to do, by all means, do you. But stick to your guns and stick to yourself, okay? Don't fall into temptation and don't do things for the wrong reasons. Not everything is about money. If it's against your standards and morals, then don't do it. It's the same thing with scenes. Don't do scenes that are not comfortable for you. I've done a lot of different types of scenes throughout my career, especially in the beginning. I was very hungry just to make money and to build myself, my name. And looking back, I did a lot of things like face fucking or, you know, asylum, like weird taboo stuff that I really wasn't into, but I did it because I was desperate for work in a sense, and I just wanted to make money and to do everything I could to build my brand so I could get more work. And I did, and I moved out to LA and I got a lot more work, you know, coming from the initial scenes that I did on the East Coast, but that wasn't really what I was into. And the aftermath of those videos kind of created a big negative type of cloud around me in certain ways. You know, people see those videos and I'm not very proud of them, but it's something that I have to deal with now forever. And so just remember, if you're offered a scene and you're really not comfortable with it, think twice about it, because once you do that, it's going to be out there. And you can't take it back. Like I said before, if you really want to get it down, it's just pretty difficult. So don't do scenes that you're not comfortable with. Don't let your agent or anyone push you into doing something that you're not okay with. It's okay to explore your sexuality and try new things. I have. There's a lot of things I learned about myself from shooting. And I've also realized, you know, what I'm into and what I'm not. But there's a lot of things that I wish I didn't do on camera. There's a lot of things that I wish I didn't do at all. And I can't take it back. And I basically, my life has been a public experiment in certain ways for people to see. And it's something that, you know, I've had to come to terms with about just accepting and embracing. But it's hard sometimes. It's hard reflecting on that and thinking like, you know, I wish I did that differently, or I wish I didn't do that at all. So you don't really want to be in that position. I mean, ultimately, they happen for a reason, and I'm here now. So I can't regret it, but a lot of people don't handle it as well, and they end up really regretting and becoming depressed and sometimes even suicidal. It happens. There's suicides in the industry, in every industry, because people, you know, really have trouble dealing with the aftermath of things that they do in their career. So it's just something to remember and keep in mind. And when I'm going backtracking, you know, with the escorting and things, and be careful what path that you go down to, because once you start getting that type of attention, it's pretty easy to fall into it and go down a dark hole, and it's hard to come out sometimes. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people, and you got to stay true to yourself and just think, is this really what I want? Am I just doing this for the money? Am I doing it because I think that it's going to make me famous is this going to help me in the long run? Or am I doing this for merely impulsiveness and fast cash, or just the sense of gratification and being wanted? Just think about that. Reflect and have some inner monologue and have some inner introspective monologue, synagogue. Just talk to yourself, communicate, and make sure you're being true to who you are and it's what you really want. Because life is beautiful, and life should be about exploring and finding yourself and finding the connection that makes you feel alive. But it really sucks when you do things that you later on regret, and then they're public everywhere on the internet for people to see. Trust me, okay? So I think that's kind of all that I really wanted to say. It's getting noisy in the streets here. I want to go to a biohacking conference now in Beverly Hills, so I gotta take off. But it's been a pleasure, and I will see you soon.